Do not be afraid. Just go on, lean in and let it go.
And we will judge you.
We like to judge the burps.
And be forewarned, Nigel is harsh. He's the East German judge.
Gotta make sure the burps come correct. We got this growler from Topeka, Kansas.
Well, shout out to Blind Tiger.
Yeah, Blind Tiger Brewing. They have actually it's middle of nowhere, but them motherfuckers got several gold medals from GABF, which is impressive for Topeka, Kansas.
And this was Beer Karma from our buddy Matt.
Yep. Shout out to Matt. We ready to roll? Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it.
Beers with Nigel is poured for you by Dire Oil Graphics, promotional products and design. They cover your brand bumper to bumper with graphic design, promo products, and print. See what Dire Oil Graphics can build for you at direoil.com. That's DYEROIL.com.
What up? What up? What up? Welcome to Beers with Nigel. It's a show about beer
and other things.
Stuff. I'm Nigel. That's Nick.
I'm the other guy.
Welcome to the show, all the way from Chi-Town, Funkytown Brewing. What up, fellas?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
This has been a long time coming. It's funny. I was looking at our messages on Instagram, and they go back like 3 years. Because 2019, we were trying to, put this thing together to get you guys on, and man, you fellas have blown up. So let's start with this. We got one of our listeners. He likes to know what we're drinking. Junior, we're drinking we don't know what it is from Blind Tiger in Topeka, Kansas. We think it's a lager or a blonde or something like that. What y'all drinking over there?
So, I got to bring out the exclusive stuff that no one else can drink yet. So,
oh shit, okay.
I got the Barrel and Flow collab, Cold Sweat with Revolution. Y'all have it in a couple weeks.
Like next week.
Oh man, that art!
Right.
I love the art.
Zach, what you got?
Going classic, man. Hip Hop's an brew, flagship joint. Our number one, our go getter.
Heard. Greg, you got a beer?
Yeah, I got some. Volume 2. So it's our second flagship.
So y'all, I'm getting the you only drink your own beer. Is that what's going on?
Always be branding.
About the brand.
Well, since our beer, you could drink it anytime, any place, anywhere.
Heard. So let's talk about the Funkytown brand is a thing now. It's popping. But I want to go back to the days of how y'all got together, all three of y'all. Kind of give us the history of how, and we can start with you, Zach, about how y'all got together and started brewing, because everybody has that brew story, and it's interesting to find brothers that homebrew. You know what I'm saying? So how did that start, Zach?
Well, we started knowing each other long before we even started brewing. So Rich and Greg knew each other since 4th grade. And then I met them in 7th grade, went to high school together, went to college together. So kind of like the friendship from there kind of blossomed. And then we was always drinking beers up in college, whether it was the malt liquors or, the kind of stuff that we can only afford. So when we graduated from school, came home, we had a little bit more money. So we just started venturing out, trying different beers, trying different breweries, trying different things like that. And then once we got there, it was like, we would go to like events and stuff like that, right? So we would bring the beers that we would get from Benny's or we get from the liquor store, and then people would be just naturally like inquisitive about what we were drinking. So when we grabbed that, we were like, okay, there's a lane for us here. And then we started home brewing. So we started home brewing in 2017. And like that's the part of like Funkytown's identity that we really hold on to tight, you know, especially coming from the homebrew background. So, you know, took a couple of classes at Brew and Grow, local beer supply store on the north side of Chicago, which I think just recently shut down and closed. So I'm a little sad about that. Gathered up about $1,500 worth of brewing equipment.
Yeah.
Talked to my parents, said, can we borrow y'all's garage? They said, cool. And we just started getting at it. And then brewing from there, still drinking beers along the way. So that's kind of like how I like brewing, kind of home brewing thing kind of started.
Yeah. So
I love that. I mean, I've got one friend that maybe can go back that far, but not only the three of you stay together that long, but you're going to work together too. That's crazy to me.
So who anyone of y'all can answer this. You know, you're drinking whatever you were drinking. Well, you know, let's go to the question we always ask. What was the thing? Let's say if you know you did before you were drinking maybe some malt liquors, but then you flipped to some craft beer. Let's start with you, Rich. What turned you on to different beers than just what was out there in the stores?
Man, so you come home. So we were in Grambling, Louisiana. So
You went to Grambling?
Yeah, we all went to Grambling.
Heard.
So it was like the malt liquors and the craft beer scene in Northwest Louisiana isn't much. You come home, you just start seeing all types of different beer labels and stuff. You go out and you see all these tap handles in Chicago, and it's just like, okay, what is this? This is beer, but like, why is the price point higher? Like, what is it about it? You know? So you start picking up like some Sam Adams, and then you start picking up like Goose Island. You start picking up Revolution, and it's just like, yo, this beer has more flavor.
Yeah.
And then like the labels are dope. Like some of them had like some funny ass labels, and it was just like, yo, we kind of enjoy this, and it was something that we already do. So it's just like as friends, we just kind of moved on to craft beer because of the local scene. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Greg? What was the thing that turned you on to, you know, the stuff that something different than college?
Yeah, like he said, I would say like the beer labels, when they look different, you know, than the malt liquor labels, you know, the Colt 45s and the Cobras and the 211s, you know, those are the basic, just solid blocking, you know, on the labels. Yeah. Once we had a little bit more money, in my opinion, I would have a better job, so I was able to spend a little bit more. So I was in a different section, you know, in the liquor store. So that's when I explored and just seeing what was out there, you know, when it comes to, you know, craft beer. So, yeah, just more just being, you know, financially more stable.
Yeah.
And looking at the artwork.
Do you remember what that label was, that first label that caught you?
That's a good question. I would say probably like Three Floyd's Gumball Head. It was very colorful.
Yeah.
You know, something different, very vibrant, stood out when you see it on the shelf.
Yeah.
So
who you know, this always, so, you know, y'all decide to homebrew. Was that a consensus, or the one of y'all say we should brew our own beer?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Who's the one who got drunk first and said, let's brew beer?
Yeah. It was definitely a consensus, man. It came from, the whole brewing beer came from something completely unrelated. Like we took like a group trip to Thailand for like 2 weeks, just out there like kicking it, just fully immersed in the culture.
Wow.
Completely disconnected. Just having a ball, just food, the community, just like we do Airbnbs and move around like with the real people. We don't do the touristy stuff. And it was just like our first big international trip. And then we just came back home and we got back to work. Everybody just kind of like felt like, I don't know, sad or something. Like, yo, like how do we get more like freedom to like experience that more? Like we want to go to Thailand. How do we get to a point where we can just go out there and kick it for like a whole month or even more? So we started thinking about like financial freedom and like maybe we need to like attempt to do something for ourselves and work. And it's just like, you know, like we were kind of aware that the industry was like less than 1% black, and they were looking to like find diverse owners. And it's like, we already like beer.
Right.
So it's like, all right, let's start home brewing. And like when we started home brewing, we also knew like we're gonna go pro with this. Like we're gonna have fun with this and enjoy this shit during the Bears games and all that. But like let's take this somewhere to kind of see if this fulfills like what we're feeling after coming back home and like going right back to the grind after experiencing something that was just like eye opening.
What was it about Thailand? Look, why'd y'all go to Thailand? What was it about Thailand that kind of spurred you guys on to take on this venture?
So me and my wife went to Thailand the year prior for our honeymoon for 2 weeks, and we had a blast. So I just came back home, just like gassing my guys, like y'all should come. We should do this the very next year. And I'm just on them, like, you know, I need $750 for the flight. Like I'm like Sally Mae, just collecting money from all of them. Like I gassed them for a whole year, and then we went out there, and like there was no complaints. The Airbnbs were like your money goes so much further.
Yeah,
you're looking at the way people eat, and it's just like I don't know. It just made you think differently, right? And then we came back home, and it expanded how we thought of what we're gonna do here while we're at home. You know, so yeah, like let's go for brewing. We know it's going to be like, you know, we're less than 1%. It's going to be a challenge, and like, you know, I'm with my guys, like we're competitive, we love sports, so like we're just gonna get after it.
Is that like your thing when you need to get away and brainstorm? You guys just plan a trip?
Yeah. Trips are amazing. We do our international trips together. Like,
cool.
Yeah, hopefully we can get like a nice business card with rewards and vacation good more. Yeah.
Well, that's just for international distribution.
There you go. So it's interesting to me that y'all came out the gate and were like, oh, we're gonna go pro with this. I mean, that's bold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Usually there's time in between, and somebody gets an idea, or you make a beer that's so well received, you got to go pro. But you were doing it from the beginning. That was the idea.
Yeah. That was important for us. While we're in the garage, we're also focusing on our business plan, our strategy when we come into market, making sure that Funkytown was legal on the state and financial level, the state and federal level as well. So, yeah, we were working on that while we were brewing the beer, because we knew eventually, we were going to have that business plan, to bring to the banks, to try to get funding. And, once we get our shot with contract brewing or whatever, that we'll have to have all those things in place, and present to whoever we work with. So, yeah, the whole time we're focused on that.
What was that process like? Because we've had some others talk about kind of the pain in the ass of going to the banks, of working with realtors and getting space, and then even finding the contract brewery places.
Well, finding our brewer, that wasn't difficult for us, and we're still very early. The banking process is difficult. Definitely can agree with that. Like, and I mean, part of it is just because you're like a little green behind the ears. I think, like, when it comes to banks, like we kind of assume that they all operate somewhat similar when it comes to requirements, and that's not the case.
Right.
But like, when you're talking to Chase Bank and U.S. Bank, and maybe you're just talking to like the larger banks, the larger enterprise logos that and they can't do anything with you as a small business, and what they say sounds consistent, so it kind of turns you off. Then we do find a bank that wants to work with us, and it just takes extremely long for some reason. And the truth is, we should just like spread our wings. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. We should have been applying to like 50 banks, credit unions.
Yeah,
just that's the grind. But like just little stuff like that. But the application process is tough. Like, banks are tough. I think we'll get better now that we've kind of gone through it one time, but I could definitely see how like a first-time entrepreneur would get discouraged during the process.
So as far as the three of y'all, what roles does each one play? Let's start with you, Zach. What's your role?
Well, co-founder and director of brewing operations. So recipe building, procurement, brewing, canning, all that.
Greg?
Co-founder, sales director, and also deal with like our finances and banking relationships.
Got you. And Rich?
Co-founder and CEO. But with that, like, I focus mainly, like, more so on marketing and communications.
Now, speaking of that, you guys are out there. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about like the labeling
The brand.
the brand, you know, the recipes. What goes into that? I mean, obviously you sound like a collaborative group that comes together as one. But one of y'all to talk about how the Funkytown name came about and the branding.
Well, the name, like funky, first of all, is like cross generational, right? So it's like it's a word that's really synonymous with fun, you know, truthfulness, and it goes all the way back to like George Clinton Funkadelics. It goes, you know, to the Brad in the '90s as far as Funktified. It goes with in the NBA slam dunk competition, the East Bay Funk Dunk. So like funk is cross generational, always standing for fun. And in town was like the thing that brings it all together. Because what we're doing, how we're doing it, who we're doing it for, kind of the communities we want to be embedded in, the give back to the community, what we want to do, how we want to support it. So like that part in town and funky just comes together. And plus, we always used to say it's like as shorties in high school, like, man, keep it funky with me. So like keep it truthful, keep it real. So it was just something natural. And then it was just like, you know, the word is it just really exudes fun and connectivity. So bring it all together, Funkytown, and now everybody plays a lip song.
Man.
I mean, as they should. Can you take me to? I mean, talk about a cross-generational song for real. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That thing has been out for I don't know how many damn years, and you still hear it, and you be like, "Yeah, there's that Funkytown."
You don't even have to hit a whole song. You just
not at all.
Just those first.
It's an intro. Yeah.
We're gonna take a moment here real quick before we go to the next question.
Is it time?
Yeah, it's time.
Okay.
Hold on. Stand by. So we have a little segment that, you know.
Oh, I think it's on loop. Oh, no.
Oh, it's on loop. Turn it off. So,
Breeze looping.
so y'all see this bag right here. This is a mystery beer bag, right? So, you know, what I do is I just show up with beers. I don't tell Nick what I'm bringing. And we and we pull. You get. It might be from a golf course. Might not be. You never know.
We don't know.
So,
don't need to know. It's fine.
So I'm gonna pull out a beer, and then we play a little game. It's called Guess the ABV. So I'm gonna hand this to Nick. He gets to pour, but he's gonna tell us what the description is. Now, I know y'all like labels and shit. Look at this one. Look at that thing right there.
Oh man! All right.
Okay. Yeah. Barntown.
Yeah, it's in Barntown. Yeah.
All right.
What's that? I think that's in Des Moines.
I think so.
What we got there, Nick?
Barntown. Oh crap! I gotta be able to see it.
It's got a lot of shit on that label.
Universidad Mexican style lager.
Okay, there you go.
They are West Des Moines.
Des Moines, yeah. So that's some beer karma. I had some people go to Des Moines, so we talk about beer karma, right? So we have rules in life. Our rule number one is don't die. Don't die, right? Try not to die, right? Rule number two,
don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. You know, that covers a multitude of sins. You know what I'm saying? So we always talk about if you're a dick, you ruin your beer karma. So when you give beer comes back. And so this is some beer that I didn't ask for. It just showed up at the brewery that I work at, and here we are. And so, as you say, it's a Mexican lager. Is that what it is? I mean, you know, classic style. You know what I'm saying? What's some of the styles that you guys prefer to brew? Because I feel like you guys do a lot of things. Because y'all are in 11 fucking places in Chicago.
That's a shit ton.
That's a shit ton. What individually style? How about you, Zach? What styles do you like to drink and maybe like to put out there for the world? You know what I'm saying?
Pale ales, man. Like that's what we do. That's kind of like what our niche is, or kind of what we're specialized in. So we've done everything from American Pale Ale, Red Irish Ale. Let's see here, Amber Ale. Take a look here, Belgian Pale, Belgian Wit. Smoked ale, We did a bronze ale.
You got a pallet back there?
It's like a bench. It's like a bench right there.
So yeah, like pale ales are our thing, man, and we got an imperial stout too, part of the Black is Beautiful campaign.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Look, if a can of that were to make it to Pittsburgh next week, I wouldn't cry.
Okay, look, see,
heard. So Zach, what do you like to drink personally? What are you into?
I'm really like seasonal with mine, right? So right now, if I'm not drinking like my own stuff, Funkytown stuff, I kind of like to go for like a lager at this point.
Yeah.
Like in the summertime, really just have something to crush. It's funny that you showed the Mexican style lager because I've really like gotten into that a little bit lately. So yeah, I like to kind of crush those in the summertime, but in the winter, it kind of gets a little bit bolder though, right? Like so the heavier kind of ales.
Yeah.
Just started recently getting myself into stouts over like the last 3 years. So Rich is trying to fully convert me. Working on.
Good work. That's the Lord's work right there.
I'm the first one to complain.
So Rich, is that your go-to style stout or what?
No, in the winter I get stout heavy. Like it's just some. I mean, you know, it's brick. It's absolutely cold. Like it's so cold out here in the winter. Like you just want something strong, cozy up.
Yeah.
Just like drink. So yeah, I'm pretty seasonal too. Like right now, like more lagers, more just like 5-6%ers. None of our American pale ales. I mean, honestly, we have one brewed orange zest. We got one brewed with mango. That's what we home brewed the longest.
Heard.
Yeah, like it's like I don't know. We put so much effort into that because those beers were like the feedback we were getting from like women and like Black people who've never had a voice in beer. Nobody's ever had any outreach to them. So, yeah, I love our pale ales, but I'm pretty seasonal as well.
Greg?
I used to love IPAs. Like during COVID, I used to buy the shit out of IPAs. Then I realized I get wasted after 2 cans. I'm like, I can't be living like this, bro. I need to call AA, you know?
Like we all had to get through COVID somehow.
Man.
You don't have to ask questions. No judgment.
But nah, I like pale ales. Then the fall, like ambers.
Yeah.
Brown ales. But lately I've been into some Hefeweizens lately too.
Okay.
So, you know, for the summer. So
Nick, let's play the game. Well, I'm gonna say 5.2 on that ABV. 5.2. I mean, it's
you know what? I'm gonna price right you on this one.
You're going 5.3.
I'm gonna go 5.3.
If y'all were gonna guess on just Mexican lager, what would it be? 5? What y'all think?
I'd say 5.6.
I'd say 5.1.
Wait, what state was it from?
Iowa.
Iowa. I'm gonna go 5. I'm gonna go 5.6.
Okay, what we got? I said
Well,
5.2. You can't read this shit probably. This is a reoccurring theme on this podcast. Where we're like, sometimes there's been some.
You know what? I feel like Iowa. That's the thing. Like the Iowa beers have not had the ABV on.
What we had last week? There was some shit. I was like, there's
no
ABV.
It's not on there?
We had to look it up on Untappd. What's the name of it?
Universidad.
Universidad. Got you.
Yeah, that was my attempt at saying the Spanish word. Like I didn't take Spanish, and even if I did, college was a long time ago.
Okay, heard.
Yeah, there is not an ABV.
We'll just assume it was 5.2.
I'm going to assume I was right. It's 5.3.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. I win.
Everybody's right. Now, see if we were in person.
4.8.
What was it?
4.8.
Oh, you pulled it up?
Oh, dang.
Oh, everybody was over.
Oh, nobody gets the can. Then.
Yeah. So if we were in person, we would the winner gets the can. So the rest of the beer. So that nobody gets to drink it, motherfucker.
Everybody went over. I want to go back to the brand thing a little bit because did you get to that story quickly, or did you kind
story?
I mean, did you start? Yeah, did you start with other things that just kind of got there, or were you guys there already?
I think we got there pretty quickly, honestly. Like when we first started thinking about the company and like I mean, we're just super excited to get after it. Like myself and Greg, we got business degrees, so it's like we're using this
Got it.
this skill set that we've never really used. So like the first thing we did was like define like our company values, like what do we care about, like community, customer engagement, integrity, quality, um, and like starting with that base, it allowed us to kind of like just build the ideas from there, like how people will see, like, the perspective we'll have of the brand. And Funkytown was the only name we came up with that we liked. And that's really like it. Like, yeah, like we started with the values and like the characteristics. We love basketball, we love retro video games. All of this is going to come out in some way, like the way that our friendship has been like linked up over these past 20 something years. And then we came up with Funkytown, and that's all we came up with. So yeah.
Like there was some other ones in the hopper, but they didn't even make like the second round.
Damn.
They were just like, nah, that's trash. That's trash. That's trash.
That's great.
Trash.
That's awesome.
So what's it been like? Because y'all are out in the market, man, and you started producing beer. And what was it like? Let's say reception wise, because Chicago's a big fucking beer market, and being able to do what you guys have done. What was it like trying to get in and saying, hey, we're here and we want to be part of this community? What's it been like for each of you guys to do that?
We've been well received. We've obtained a lot of allies, like guys from the big breweries, as far as like Half Acre, Revolution, have kind of reached out, you know what I mean, and kind of given us advice and offered a ear if there was ever we needed to have a conversation with. But also, even when we came in, there was already like kind of like a beer culture, black beer culture established already. You know what I mean, with Mickey and the Black and Brew Chicago.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that we like reached out to folks who were already in the game and already representing the less than 1%, to just kind of get like, hey, we're here. Advice on how we should move around. So when we came in the game, it's not like we came in the game with our head held, like chest out and everything like that. It was like, we know it's a lot of stuff that we need to learn. We know it's a lot of stuff we don't know. So let's go out here and make some allies, make some contacts, make some connections, some genuine connections, all while being like ourselves. It's kind of like the opening for everything. So whether it was like talking about recipes with Jason, who is a black brewer over at Lulu in Pilsen, like just having conversations like that. We was always well received. Like it of course is different for all of us, but pretty much the overall kind of thing was like, it wasn't any kind of pushback or any static or anything like that when we came.
Yeah. So Greg, what were you feeling when you guys were, making this journey?
Well, like Zach said, the industry has been very welcoming. Just because before we even launched, we reached out to everyone in the craft industry, from a local level to national level. Specifically black-owned breweries as well. But yeah, we just knew like people loved the name. The name was undeniable. The logo was dope. The only thing we had to prove to everyone was the flavor and style. So
right.
We had to just get into the community, do tastings. Before we actually even came out, we gave beer samples to our like close friends and family. We had like a campaign before we actually went pro. We had beer in the bottles, homebrew.
Yeah.
Meeting people and giving it out, and people are like, "Oh, you guys are on to something." So yeah, it's been that part was easy, but actually just getting into these retailers was more of a challenge because no one knew about us. Of course, being the new kids on the block, people give you a shot, but it's always difficult to get on tap because that's like the prime real estate in these bars and restaurants.
Yeah,
that's why art, so we can actually get that shot in in grocery stores and liquor stores, so you can separate yourself from the others with just your beer label. So yeah, in my opinion, I think it was just getting into that, like I said, that prime real estate in these bars and restaurants, because a lot of these macro breweries, they have these long-term relationships with these places, and it's hard to just like bump them off and get in there. But now, since we've been recognized and winning awards and being at Wrigley, Guaranteed Rate, United Center, Whole Foods, it's easier now. So yeah, you got to get some skin in the game and actually be in the community and just give these samples and talk about your story. So
yeah.
How long did it take you guys before you realized you got your recipes and your beer was where you wanted it, needed it to be?
Yeah, we started home brewing in 2017, and the first batches of homebrew sucked. Like they look good, taste like water, just like other issues with them. We kept getting feedback, and I think it was like we went to Fresh Fest 2019, and that was reinvigorating. And I feel like 2020 we started like becoming consistent with our home brews and better understanding, just like when we're talking to brewers, just actually understanding what they're saying to us. So it could be a different language once they get to rolling off of temperatures and ingredients. So 2020, we felt confident in a flagship beer. And we thought, 2020 is when we felt confident after 3 years of mainly focusing on one style. We were always focused on getting like the perfect American Pale Ale. So we dibble and dabbled with other stuff, but we were focused on an American Pale Ale. And it took like 3 years for us to get our beer to a place where we really enjoyed it. And the feedback that we were getting was like, no, this is good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of focus, man.
So, let's go back to 2019 because Fresh Fest, man, that was a watershed moment for me. That's the reason this podcast exists. If it wasn't for Ed and Day, they were on last week, and we
that's our podcast daddies.
We call them our podcast daddies. And it's to the point now where that was such a watershed moment, and you fast forward 3 years, it's crazy because they're telling us that it feels like a tradition for them to come on our podcast before the fest. So I know what Fresh Fest and Barrel and Flow means to me. I'd love to hear from each one of y'all from 2019 what happened and what in your brain. Let's start with you, Rich. What was Fresh Fest to you, man?
Man, it was everything. We were in a vacuum home brewing at the crib, just kind of thinking it was us a little bit, and we just do it. And then we got out there, and we talking to Alyssa Rhythm, getting like that, like straight like mentorship right on the spot in the middle of the festival, awesome. Like all of his good game. I'm talking to Cajun Fire. I'm talking to Leo and his wife from Montclair, and he's from and she's from Jamaica, and it's just like, oh, I'm Jamaican. Like it's just like all this stuff, like all this community right here, and it was like, okay, like it's been 2 years in it. We've been making progress, but it's like we need to go harder because like I want to be a part of this community.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt coming out of it. Like this is where I want to be. Like this is how I see it. This is how I see myself. I see myself as a black brewer at this festival, born up, doing stuff in Chicago. Yeah.
Greg?
For me, it was overwhelming because it was so much beer and I was fucked up.
The bottle share, baby.
But man, all of that, because we got there early. So yeah, we enjoyed all that. We enjoyed the conference time, the little conference of it during the day. So yeah, it was dope just to see all these black breweries that we really didn't know about. And hops. It's funny how we met them. We were just like in line at like a food truck. And we liked my t-shirt. Teo was like, dope shirt. I'm like, oh shit, that's Teo from Crowns and Hops. Yeah, it's like, oh shit. But yeah, it was just dope. And once, like you said, once we talked to Alyssa and just meeting and greeting with all these breweries, we felt so confident and energized to go back home and just get shit going because guess what? There was no representation from Chicago.
Yeah. Oh, no shit. The first year there wasn't.
So it was like, oh, it's about to go down. We about to tear this shit up. Like, get back, focus on this strategy, our business plan, kept home brewing, and then once we talked to Alyssa, she opened up the word contract brewing. And then luckily, it's a pilot project, so they do more than just contract brewing. Yeah. So it's an incubator, so they help with the whole infrastructure of your business. So that that was game changing for us, in my opinion.
Zach?
Shit, it's not much more I could add on. I mean, it was like a family reunion.
There it is again.
Yeah, we keep saying that.
It was. It felt that way. There was a couple moments that I just remember. Like we did leave with like a sense of focus, because it was like we're looking around and you see Crowns and Himes, you see Al Sharpton. Before we even knew who these people were,
right?
You had Garrett Oliver over there, Big G.O. You don't even know who these people are, but you looking at them like something important is happening.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. I can't put a finger on it, but whatever is happening, that is the first wave of it happening.
Yeah,
we need to be a part of the second. And
yeah.
So it was just like, all right, supreme amount of focus, and then just like, you know what I mean, like the stars align. When you leave somewhere and whatever you expected was blown out the water,
yeah,
and you leave with like a sense of, damn, I am so happy I went.
Yes.
Like, I am so happy I went, just because I was able to connect. I was able to have conversations with folks. This woman who didn't even know us from a can of paint just put us on. Yeah, you heard that, Rich. You know what I mean? She put us on. She didn't have to, though.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like, you didn't have to, but she did. And because she did, she opened up some more doors for us. We incubator and all this other kind of stuff. So it was like, if we hadn't went, we wouldn't be where we at today.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It would have took us some more time.
Yes.
Like, so, like, yeah, that's why I gas it up to everybody.
Absolutely.
Trying to give everybody FOMO.
I think that sums up that festival so well. I mean, I can think of, just hearing you talk, I can think of, like, off the top of my head, 5 other breweries that have a similar story, right?
Yeah. I mean,
they captured, Ed always calls it the vibe.
It's the vibe
of that festival, but I mean, they captured something there that, I mean, I'll be honest, dude like me isn't gonna get it fully, but I can see the reactions and the stories that come out of it.
No,
think of Nappy Roots. They were performing on stage. They got them.
Yeah,
I know.
Damn.
Yes,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it was there. That first year, I discovered it, and I literally just packed my bags and went and came by myself. And I showed up to that hotel for the symposiums on that Friday, and with my bag, I hadn't even been to the hotel yet, right? and the amount of black people in that ballroom, I was like, what the fuck? I was blown away, because in Kansas City, we got some black people in Kansas City. There's about 30% black people, but they're not at the breweries. You know what I'm saying? And so to see that, it was the craziest, mind-blowing thing. And just like you, Zach, I'm hyping it up to everybody. I'm like, you gotta fucking come. This ain't no beer festival. This is a different animal. And my favorite story from last year, Stacey Ia from Rock Leopard Brewing out of London. I'd hooked up with him on Twitter, and he came on the podcast during COVID. Super cool motherfucker. He's like, I want to come on the podcast. He sent us his beer from London, right? Sent us 3 IPAs, came on the podcast. So
That shit was still cold. When
that motherfucker packed the shit out that beer, I'm telling you. So we're rolling up to the hotel last year, and I'm like, Nick, is that Stacy? he had in the parking lot smoking a cigarette. So this is how big this festival is.
First trip ever.
He had never been to the United States, but he came for Barrel and Float.
Yep.
That's heavy, man. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe Ed and Day know what they've created, but the amount of love and vibe and inspiration that have left that festival. I mean, think about Liquid Intrusion Brewing, right? Last year when they came in, he came in hot. The year before, he was there at the bottle share with his home brews,
with a little cooler, just passing out home brews.
Fast forward a year, he's serving. I was like, God damn, son. So y'all's window is pretty small. His is like this.
Well, here's Four Cities. We walk up to their tent. It's a 21-year-old brewer.
Yeah. Their brewer is 21. Four Cities, and they smashed it last year. So no, it's a thing, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just the stories that come out of there. That's why we keep going back. That's why I was, this year, the first black brewery in Missouri, Vine Street. I've been telling them motherfuckers, you need to come, and they're coming. So, because I was talking them up last year. I'm like, you need to come. Of course, they're finally open. It took them. Look. When you want to open a brewery, the timeline is not like you think it's going to be, right? Y'all know that, right?
I don't know why. All it takes is $15,000.
Yeah, according to our homeboys, shout out to Sandhills Brewing. That was their whole story. That they're like, oh, we can open a brewery. It's only $15,000. No,
they were wrong.
No. You can get a fermenter for that shit or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But so let's switch. You know what? I need another beer, bro, for real though.
Is it time again?
It's mystery beer time. I'm gonna grab this one. Now
that's our buddy Bree, brewer and owner at Big Rip Brewing.
Yeah, that one. So we have several females that own breweries in Kansas City, which is cool. She's one of the coolest ones. So this here's some more beer karma. This came straight from Canada. I got a partner of mine. Who I work at several breweries, and I was in Canada. I brought you some beer. What did he bring me? Olsen.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when was the last time you had a Molson?
Oh,
I can't even count it.
I don't think I've ever had one.
No.
So it's from John Molson. That was his name. So we're gonna crack this one.
There we go.
There we go. I'm gonna say it's 5.2. I'm gonna go with that. 5.2, baby.
Seems like a safe.
Beer tasting beer. You're gonna have to reach.
Oh, damn.
While we're doing this, so let's talk about how. You guys are. How did y'all the distribution game? Because you guys are a lot of places. How many places are you? Is it package stores? Is it on premise? What are y'all doing out there in Chicago?
Chicago. We have over 600 locations right now.
600. That's what you said. 600.
Yeah, that's the mix of on-premise and package. That's highlighted by like Whole Foods. We're in all the Whole Foods. Jewel Osco, it's the Albertsons brand grocery store.
Yeah.
And like 95 of those joints. We're in all the Buffalo Wild Wings.
What? Really?
Yeah, we're in a bunch of 7-Elevens too.
Wow.
And we through the brewery incubator pilot project we work with Illinois, we self-distribute. So
okay.
I don't know. It's just the PR kind of opened us up to like those larger brands and let us in. Like it was good PR. Like we are successful. A lot of people, honestly, to land all these locations.
Y'all been on TV a lot. Let's keep it real. Y'all been on TV. Every time I look, I'm like, damn, there's another story. Y'all on TV today.
Yeah.
They love the story, but they must love the beer too. That's what I'm saying. That's great. What's the process been like trying to, when you're doing it yourself? Because that's a whole nother animal of going to places and you got a little cachet because you've been on TV and shit. But if you're coming to me and I've seen you on TV, I'm gonna talk to you, of course. But your product's got to be good. What's that process been like for you guys to really push and to get into these places to sell the beer?
I say it's been easy yet difficult.
Yeah.
Like I said before, it's funny, the Whole Foods connection. We got that at Brewbound 21 when we won the pitch slam. I was by the bathroom and the lady was like, nice shoes. And I took my shoe off and explained that it was recyclable material and it was a Sean Witherspoon. And she's like, hi, by the way, I'm Emma. I'm like, oh shit.
Wow. That's great.
And then their relationship just kept building from there. And then we talk about the Jewel. We knew someone in there as well, but we had to start somewhere, within like the local South Side to do like tastings and stuff. And then we met the actual like CEO of Jewel at a tasting. He was like, You know what? I'm gonna make your lives fucking great this year. And gave us 92 Jewel. Like it was crazy. But yeah, like it took time. But I would say once we, just start getting our name out there and getting more recognized, it was easier.
Yeah.
And like I said, the tap part, that's still an issue because the macro brands, they reign supreme when it comes to that prime real estate. We're slowly getting those too. So,
what do you think it is that resonates?
Recognition.
What do you think it is that resonates as you've been pushing that out and getting with all those people like at Jewel and all that? Is there a part of the story that you're telling that just kind of connects?
I mean, I think it's different things, but one is like when you're out like walking through the grocery store or walking through like these events, you're not usually meeting like the executives of a brewery. You're meeting some sort of brand ambassador. And like we're constantly out there. Like there's one like meeting us at this level of the brewery because like everything we say is the brand in full. Like it's not someone saying something from a script, like after being onboarded. Like this is really like the next step of our lives. And then like we're always out there. We still have our full-time jobs. People see that grind and that work too. And like I think they just want to support that because like we're really out here chasing something that doesn't have a clear path. It's an undefined path. And that's really it. Like we know our story down packed because it's really like the story of three friends. So we all see it from a different perspective quickly. It doesn't sound rehearsed or anything. I think it's like a mix of those things, man.
People generally have fun too.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's an experience. So we've come to a point now that we know the beer is good. And so, the beer is going to sell itself at some point, but it's like when you meet the executives, what kind of experience do they offer? Like when you meet the executives. So when you come up and it's like, hey, oh yeah, I want to try it. And all of a sudden you're stuck at the table. You just went grocery shopping for bread and eggs. If you've been for 35 minutes because you're sitting over there talking to us about baseball.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's an experience that we give folks that I think that really resonates with them, along with the fact that we're childhood friends and we are the executives and we're just doing a grind. And Greg just got off of work at 4:00 and he's coming out south to a Whole Foods to do a tasting. It's like, and all of that is entwined and all of that's in like conversation when we talk to folks. So people come up and just have they have a blast. Like they forget that they're in the store, they forget that they're at the tasting.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of the experience about Funkytown too. So,
and I feel like you guys are in a lot of different spaces promoting the brand, and it's not just beer or grocery stores, that you guys really embrace, being in the community and just showing love. I mean, I feel like that's probably one of y'all's core values. When I follow you guys on social, I'm like, well, they're doing what? They doing it. It's almost like, it's, to lack of a better word, the Funkytown vibe. It's when it shows up, it's a vibe. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense?
Yeah, man. Like for like long-term growth, like we there's a lot of breweries out here in Chicago. Like if we didn't exist, there's good beer. Like, so we need to like find like how are we gonna stay on the minds of folks? And part of that is like really like living out our values. So we try to partner with like community service organizations, whether it's just like highlighting their event, sponsoring their event with our service and beer, collaborating on an event, different nonprofits, whether it's like social emotional learning or mental health or something that scholarship based to like send kids to HBCUs, just kind of like being in the community and showing people our values and what we care about, and like how we will also use some of this platform and some of our resources to give back. That's truly what we're about too. And partnering with those different nonprofits, they spread the Funkytown name through word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's just like honest, and it's truly like near and dear to us too. Like, like when you're just like when we're just working your 9 to 5, like you see the issues in Chicago, like you see the youth, and you like want to help out more on like a macro level. And like this platform kind of allows us to also do some things to give back and just leave our own mark on the community as well. So.
Dig it. Greg trying to go into witness protection. His light just went really dark.
Bro, it's crazy.
I was like, what's going on over there?
We're just
From the beginning of the podcast, it's just like,
Yeah. Let's talk about this collab that's happening at Barrel of Flow. I mean, that's huge to do one with Revolution. What kind of beer? The label is stupid. What kind of beer is it?
It is a strawberry banana Hefeweizen.
Ooh.
Yeah, heard.
Makes me happy.
Yeah, it is. It's outstanding, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
So what was it like to brew with some big boys like that?
It was great. It was great. You know what I mean? It's like just putting all like the best minds together. And Revolution comes with a crew, right? So it was maybe about like 3 or 4 guys on an email thread. We just bouncing ideas and recipe back and forth about how much to put in here. You know, is it pasteurized? Like it was a whole bunch of stuff just going back and forth, and it was really cool to offer suggestion or take lead in something, and a big boy brewery or a big boy brewer is like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like kind of like another step in the validation process. It was like, oh, they rocking. Okay, we doing something super right now. So it felt good to do that. And it felt good to kind of brew with those guys, and the recognition, man, with, you know, Funkytown and Revolution. You know, it's going to be a funky revolution.
That needs to be a shirt.
It's for real.
That's a t-shirt.
Well, maybe that's the next collab. It's going to be called that, right?
Do you do a lot of collabs?
We didn't. We this is our first one of the year this year. Last year we did a few. We did one with Was Brewing. That's a smoked ale that we came out with. We did another one, a brown ale. We called it a bronze ale because it was a tribute to the Stroll. There was a section in Chicago and Bronzeville that was like reminiscent to like Harlem Renaissance type of stuff. So we did a collaboration with Museum for that one. What other collab did we do?
Chicago Uncommon.
Oh, Chicago Uncommon. That's 2 years in a row and running, where all the entities, brewing entities in Chicago, come up and get together and create a beer based off of the California Common, the California Uncommon, California Common, which is weird because that was that brewery. What is it? Anchor Street.
Yeah.
Oh, they're closing down.
R.I.P.
That was kind of like a sad thing there. But yeah, we did maybe
Two more.
Two more.
Two more. You got one that wasn't canned. The all verse no hook with Skeleton Key Brewing. That was a brewery out here that got hit with a tornado a couple years ago, which is wild for us because like we're used to tornado drills in school just being like playtime.
Yeah.
And like now they're actually getting close. So yeah, we did a collaboration with them. And then, you know, we do the Black is Beautiful beer as well.
Yeah.
You know, sponsored by, you know, Weathered Souls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, we did a lot of collabs in our first year.
Yeah.
There's another thing where you wonder, did that guy know what he was creating?
Marcus
tapping into?
Marcus did. Marcus was one of our early guests on the podcast before it popped off. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, all he wanted to do, he's like, I want 13 breweries to brew my beer. And we all know what it turned into, right? I'm like, that was cute, Marcus, because I don't know how the fuck he even came on. Because right after he came on, he fucking blew up.
Yeah.
You know, and now he's got
if we waited a week, we wouldn't have had him.
Yeah, if we waited one more week. But no, he was super cool. I was telling Nick, I said, my dad lives in San Antonio. I took him to Weathered Souls. I was like, where's Marcus at? And I'm like, he ain't here. But I have a barrel-aged Black is Beautiful from Weathered Souls from I guess that was 2020. And I told Nick, I said, I've saved it. I said, on our 100th episode, we'll crack that motherfucker open.
We're close.
Yeah, y'all are number 96.
Ooh, damn.
Okay. More off. Okay.
96.
Yeah.
So as far as I had something on my mind I was going to ask about. And I just lost it. You know what? I'm gonna go with my next question because I don't want to miss this. So I know y'all just did something, won something, Sam Adams, right? As they all nod their heads.
But they all got real quiet about it. Yeah. Look. The humble switch. Like this show is humble brag. Man.
I mean,
come on.
Tell us about what this is. Tell the people what it is.
All right, well, yeah, that's really big for us, man. Like we all know Sam Adams, best in class, OG in the game. The Brewing the American Dream competition is basically giving one-on-one mentorship to a brand for a year, and other perks. Like we're gonna drop a collaboration with Sam Adams. We're gonna be networking with them at the Great American Beer Fest. What else? They're gonna get us access to some capital and the one-on-one mentorship, freaking logistics, beer recipes, procurement, like all the questions we have as we're like growing in transition. Like we can speak to their well-developed departments and functions and like get information that'll help us like avoid obstacles and mistakes in the future. So it's amazing. And like even like the press run we've been on since winning, like in the past 3 weeks, we were on TV today. We're gonna be on TV again on Thursday. We've done like 9 articles, 3 radio interviews, like just that alone.
Yeah.
With Sam Adams, like it's already like helping us get the awareness out there. Like yeah, like Brewbound was big for us early, you know, in that competition, but this is like another level for us.
Yeah. I saw that shit. I was like, man, they about to do a Marcus. That's how it all started. Next thing you know, you on fucking CBS Good Morning and shit. You know, and really, you know, shout out to Sam Adams because I didn't know how dope they were until last year when they came to Barrel and Flow and they did that Q&A, and it was all these women that's running the shit.
Well, and they'd made that relationship with Rhythm Brewing.
Well, yeah. So you know, shout out to them because that's you know, we've been talking on this podcast about diversity and they put their money where their mouth is. You know what I'm saying? You know, they are really trying to be like, we're here for for everybody because people, I think people don't really have an understanding of Sam Adams, the company, because they think about that beer. But if you dig a little deeper, they're about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they are the shit.
It's more than a t-shirt in June.
Chula Vista was a winner of the Brewing the American Dream too. Maybe I think a few years ago. So
yeah,
they Sam and the boys over there, they've been about their business for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it was great to see them at Barrel and Flow, and then they had to collab with Alicia, so that was, that was pretty cool. Again, Barrel and Flow is always doing big things, you know what I'm saying? Putting people on, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you gotta fucking love that, you know what I'm saying? And Ed and they are the most unassuming motherfuckers, you'll ever meet. You know what I'm saying? They're just super dope. Have y'all seen their show on
the very local app?
Very local. Have y'all seen the Ed and Day and the Berg?
No,
yeah, y'all need to go. You need to go find that shit, bro. It's hilarious. It's one of those things where they're just doing Ed and Day,
right?
Ed and Day things. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, what else you got over there, Nick? We got one more.
I think we got to do one more mystery beer.
Did we guess what the ABV on that thing was?
I'm just gonna look.
5.2 from Canada. 4.7.
No way.
What are you saying?
Is it not on here?
Canada's fucking too, huh?
Man, we're gonna check on y'all 30 minutes after the show.
Look, and we still got this
5% even.
We still got this motherfucker.
5-0.
The nice thing is where our studio is, we live close, so it's all good. We're gonna do this. We'll do this.
It's mine.
Do this last one. I'm not gonna look at the ABV. Another cool ass label.
Yep.
Yep. That is from Adventurous Brewing. I have never heard of them. What is it? Oh, it's a India Pale Ale. So that's right up my alley because we've gone two, three straight just regular beer tasting beers. You know what I'm saying? So
I got a little mic problem here.
oh. So what's next for Funkytown? Let's talk. Oh, let's talk brick and mortar. Y'all got plans for that?
Yeah, that's the main
Is it
thing.
something you can talk about?
Yeah.
Top secret.
No, for sure. Right now, we are trying to transition each of the co-founders into full-time employees. We really need that to stabilize the business. And then with that, brick and mortar is the very next step. Like we would hope. Yeah, like you mentioned earlier on the show, there's a ton of delays, but we would hope that we could open our own brick and mortar by fall of 2024.
That's not far away at all.
It's not. There's just a lot of opportunities out here, with capitalism, with the COVID PPP loans. Like, unfortunately, there are breweries closing down. And, capitalism, that's also another brewery's opportunity to get a space, get equipment at an affordable price. So we're just paying attention to the market and looking to get our own space next year so we can finally have that culture in one spot that everyone can experience.
Yeah.
How is it you guys looking at that you said you're looking at the transition, leaving the real jobs and jumping in, and look, as a small business owner, there's nothing more exciting and more frightening than that moment when you're ready to jump off the cliff.
There's no safety net.
Yes, there is. Like, you got to be smart like I did. I married a teacher, so I'm
No, that's some. It is. It's.
Well, that's good.
Anxiousness, right? I would say anxiousness. Just putting all your money in the middle of the table and rolling with it. But it's the work that you put in to be comfortable enough to do that. It's going to be some point where you are going to just get a little bit nervous because you stepping into something brand new that you've never done before. But you put the right amount of work in beforehand and have things set up right as can be before you get there. And especially with the business, because you don't want to get to the business part, leave the regular job behind, and then get to the business, the entrepreneur aspect, and your business is not put together tight.
Yeah.
And so then you're just causing yourself a little bit more frustration. That's why 2020 was super important, because we were supposed to come out earlier than what we did. But when COVID hit, it gave us that opportunity to sit back and figure out, fine tune, and go through the business plan, comb through it, figure out what was good, what wasn't, what we needed to pivot from, what we could keep. And then our business plan went from 6 pages to 20 pages. So it was putting that work in and then ironing everything out. That work in 2020 shows its face in 2023.
Right.
So everybody gonna step in, put all the chips to the table. But it's setting ourselves up and doing the right amount of work to feel comfortable doing it, but still just anxious about doing it. So,
you're never comfortable, man. You just got to do it, though.
Yeah, you just gotta go in. Sometimes you just gotta leave. You gotta go by faith. You know what I mean? And
it helps if you're two honest best friends with you, right?
Yeah, you got your guys, man.
Yeah.
You got your guys. So when you got your guys doing stuff, you know what I mean? It makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
You can lean on one another, because I know how all of these guys act. I know their buttons. I know how they tick. So they know how I tick. So if there's anything that needs to be expressed, there's no nervousness and no apprehension amongst one another about things. So even in the anxiousness and stuff like that, it's, open conversation. So working with your guys, we were friends way before we were business partners.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So it makes it that much easier and kind of better of a transition.
Well, I mean, you guys are on the right track because, and we've talked about this. Maybe it's by design, but maybe because that's what we got to do as Black folk is to put the brand out there first. So people are identify with that shit because that's worked for Vine Street. That's working for y'all. That's worked for Crowns and Hops. I mean, Mac Brewing. A lot of it's a formula that I think works because I think a lot of times when you look at what y'all do marketing wise it's just so appealing. You know what I'm saying? Well, people are like, oh, I want to know about that shit. What is that? What the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at some of the shit that Crowns and Hops does just label wise. They're not crazy, but they're dope. You know what I'm saying? They're simple, but they're dope. So the first time I saw one of those cans, I'm like, oh, I need to get some of those. I don't know what the beer tastes like. Let me get some of those cans. Right. And that's one of those places where when I found out I could get their shit shipped to Kansas City, I got me a case of that Pilsner immediately. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because I want the can. And funny story. So, when we go to Barrel and Flow and we get the collab cans, I don't throw those away. I peel the labels off. And I'm posting about the labels, and I've got these doors where I put stickers, but one door is all Barrel and Flow beer labels because it's fucking art. You know what I'm saying? Ed and Day, especially, Day is like, these are paid artists and these are real artists. And so even y'all's collab, I mean, that shit, you could frame that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe. Yeah. That's what I love about it. It's like, it's so intentional with the beer labels, and that it's a paid artist. Let's keep it real. And it's a paid Black artist. Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
You gotta love that. So, when you do a dope beer like you guys did and you see the label, I bet you guys are like, oh shit, let's go. You know what I'm saying? So we'll be bringing back 5011 cans. That's a shit ton. We're trying to bring back. So we got a little thing going because I got a crazy partner of mine, business dude who loves the podcast, loves the brand. He's like, y'all should do a crowdfunding for y'all's trip. And so based on the levels, we're going to bring back Barrel and Flow collabs, right? And so we're at this point we're going to bring.
We're at 54.
Yeah, we got to bring back
54 Barrel.
We got to bring back 50-something beers.
Oh.
So there will be some Funkytown in there for sure.
Suitcase.
Yes, indeed.
Well, yeah, because we were originally going to take a small convertible car on this trip. We're renting an SUV now.
Yeah, we have to go. We got to load up, come on the way back. So, but fellas, it's been a long time coming, man. I love what you guys are doing. You guys are fucking killing it. When you guys do a brick and mortar, we are definitely coming to Chicago to celebrate that shit. We'll do a podcast there just to to represent y'all because. Again, I've been following y'all from the beginning. Had no idea y'all just started in 2017. y'all babies, fucking toddlers out here, man.
Yeah,
toddlers doing big things. Let's end with this. Where can people find y'all on the social medias?
On Instagram, you can find us at Funkytown_brewery. On Facebook, we're at funkytownbrewery.chicago. On TikTok or X or whatever they call that shit now.
I'm not calling it X.
X is Twitter.
TikTok X.
Motherfucker.
TikTok X.
Yeah, and we on TikTok also at Funkytown_brewery, but we're not super active there because we haven't got our dance moves together yet. But
that's why we're not on there.
TikTok takes too much work.
I ain't dancing.
TikTok's more work.
Are you on the threads?
Nah.
It's
social media try to control your life.
Greg over there dancing this suit.
That's awesome.
Yes, indeed. Hey, Nick, where can they find us, sir?
You can find the Beers with Nigel podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or most any of your favorite podcast apps. Hey, and Zach, if you want to find us, you got one of them Alexa devices? Hey, Alexa, play the Beers with Nigel.
How do I call you out on this? Shit?
I was wondering if my shit was about to go off, right?
That's actually my goal. Like at some point, I want it to work. Somebody's listening and it just plays.
Look, hang with us for a minute because of technology.
Yeah. Hey, we're on the YouTubes too.
Are we on YouTube?
On the YouTube.
Yeah. If you want to watch this bullshit, it's on YouTube.
I'm bad at the social medias, but Nigel's getting better at it. Where are we? The Instagrams?
Well, yeah, we're on Instagram
And the tweeters. The
not,
Tweeter X.
No, the artist formerly known as Tweeter.
You get the tattoo on your face of just the symbol, just the X.
Fuck that dude.
I think on that, I'll be done.
Stand by.
You've been listening to Beers with Nigel, a show about beer and other stuff, hosted by Nigel Woodberry and that other guy, Nick Parker. Beers with Nigel is poured for you by Dire Oil Graphics, providing bumper-to-bumper graphic design, promo products, and print services. Find them at direoil.com. Beers with Nigel is a proud member of the Fredcast Network and is available on all of your favorite podcast flavors. Find Beers with Nigel on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and ask Alexa to play the Beers with Nigel podcast.